Welcome to LaRocque Life Podcast, where we talk about relationships, adventure, freedom, and just some all-around real and raw conversations. I'm Mike LaRocque, got my lovely wife, Laura.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What are we talking about, babe?
Okay, so today we're going to give you some tips, but also talk about the importance of building intimacy and connection
Ooh, yeah!
in your relationship in the micro moments of your day.
Awesome. I like it.
Okay, not just like setting up for the one date night a week or a month or, the one trip a year or I don't know, can't think of any other reasons.
I
But
hear. Okay.
But like every day, how to like be, I was going to say planting the seed, but I feel like you're going to go somewhere dirty with that. But
I'm not. That's all you. Yeah.
now I said it. So
No, that's fair. No, that's good. Hopefully we don't throw people off tonight, but we got like 2 solid days in the sun. So we're going to be a little fucking out there probably. But this is a perfect topic for it because it's silly, it's fun, it's serious, it's everything, really, I think.
Well, it's kind of like ironic, I suppose, because it's like the more silliness and the more fun and playful that you are in your relationship, the more you connect and have that intimacy level, but that's serious. Like it's not serious, but it's serious in relation to the importance of your relationship, right? And that connection and everything. That's the foundation, right? Like everything plays off of that.
And then you keep that cycle going of a good cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Having fun, and the more fun leads to more fun in the bedroom or more fun wherever, and just in life, right?
Yeah.
It does. And then now being a parent too, I see that you got to be silly with your toddlers and just have fun with it. Seems like the more silly we are with Lennox, the more he just like belly laughs, and then we belly laugh, and it's just having a good time until he slaps me in the dick, and all hell. Then everything stops. And
accidentally.
Yeah,
but not on purpose.
No, but I mean, yeah, it really is like the less I've noticed that in life. I think anything that I don't take too, there's still that sense of seriousness, but anything that you don't take too serious it'll just come easier to you.
Yeah,
and it's way more fun, and obviously life's more fun when you're just in it and having a good time. And in my personal experience anyway, like every time I've tried too hard or to force something, it's not there. It just doesn't work, right?
No, exactly.
So no, this is a great topic. What do you got on the docket? What do we got?
Okay, well, first let's start off by talking about just what we were talking about on the Blake today with the lady that we were with. Because what was she saying? Something about how it seems that men just really want more sex, right? Like that kind of seems to be a complaint for a lot of men.
Yeah, this is awesome, eh? Because she had like we weren't talking about anything particular, but it just kind of came out of not left field. But
we just got started talking about relationships. I think she asked us why we lived in London, and then I gave her the middle version, the middle story why. There's a really short version, there's like a really long version, and there's like kind of a middle one. And
right.
If you listen to episode 1, that's the long version. But yeah, I kind of just gave her like a quick lowdown on the why, and then we just ended up being on a topic of relationships. And so I mean, we had a big, long discussion about her and us and just different things. But that was one of the points that was just said. Like,
yeah, because she was saying men complain about, lack of sex or their partner's not giving them sex or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, but she made a really good point of like, if you spent less time complaining about it and more time just being or doing some of the things that your partner likes or just showing up as a man, you'll get more sex if you just didn't sit there and complain about it.
Yeah. And then that's what we were talking about, right? Like, well, we always kind of talk about this, and I work on this with my clients. Like the more that I feel like seen and cherished by you, then I do feel sexier. I do feel flirtier. I feel more fun. And then I do feel more playful. And that does lead to more sex and just connection, just the intimacy that we're going to talk about tonight.
It is. And it's a tough one, right? Because obviously men have sex most men have sex to feel emotion or to connect emotionally, but women need to connect emotionally than to have sex. And it's just not a weird dynamic, but it's just that yin and yang, right? And you gotta get them both lined up. And I don't know if I know for myself, just seeing you lit up and being that guy for you and having your back and supporting you and not nagging you for anything is just, I love that. I love seeing your radiance. And obviously there's repercussions on my end for it. It in turn makes you happier and makes you want to be in the relationship and or I'm assuming, I guess, but you just, you just put out a really good vibe. And if I could feed that and keep that going, then it's going to make everyone's life better, easier,
Mhm.
myself included. Right.
Mhm.
And I'm sure it goes both ways. Obviously we've seen Mopey Mike for, there's been times of that.
I like that we named Moby Mike.
Oh, fuck. It's all over work wise, this, everything. It's like, I didn't realize it was a thing. Um, but yeah, like that, I don't want to fuck him. I wouldn't want to fuck myself when I see that. So, I mean, it goes both ways. I do
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I mean, all of this too isn't just sex, right? Like,
No, then it
that
is
is a
emotion.
portion of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just having that intimate connection and even just like that physical connection, which again doesn't need to be sex,
No.
but touch and all of that
Mhm.
is, we're human beings. Like, we thrive off of that, right? Like, touch, connection. Of course, sex is a part of it, but there's just so much more than just sex. But let's jump into a few of these things we had written down, a few topics that we had written down, and then we can kind of like, give some of our personal experience or advice. Do I want to say advice? I don't know. I guess I said advice. That's the sun. On them, but then we can just continue moving through them. But in writing these down, this is again coming back to what I said at the very beginning, meant to be like through the micro moments of your day,
Mhm.
right? So it's not just like one time a week that you connect. Like, it should be a continuous, all of the time thing. And of course, there are moments when there is arguments or, just feeling a bit of disconnect. And I don't want to say disconnect, but like, for some reason, resentment is coming to my mind. But there's just moments where, like, maybe you're having an argument or you're having a disagreement or something, and that's okay. Like, we're not saying that doesn't happen. That always happens. I actually made a post on Instagram last week because I feel like there's all this talk about perfect relationships, and I never want people to think that we have a perfect relationship. And so I did make a point on that or a post on that on my own personal Instagram last week, just about like, for us in our relationship, it's about striving for like better communication, more respect for each other, like having fun, showing Lennox what unconditional love is, growing and evolving together. But yet we do still have disagreements, and we still get triggered by each other, and we still have resentment, and we still, have these things that come up. Just the difference is that we don't wallow in it or stay in it forever, because now we have the tools and we also have the awareness to step up and move through it faster, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
so,
And just gotta be right.
mhm,
Sometimes it doesn't have to be all rainbows and butterflies and running
yeah,
frolicking through a field. Like sometimes you just gotta be and
like
like
life
let
just is,
yeah, and let
right?
your partner be for a while and let you be. And
Yeah.
obviously you don't have to force anything. Like it
Hmm.
doesn't have to be some crazy thing. Like just live your life a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, days or even just moments don't drag that on too much and like
Hmm.
keep that going. But yeah, just be there. And I'm very fortunate because I just feel that with you. Like
Yeah.
I know I have that support and I can just, not too high, not too low, and
Yeah.
just living life, right?
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, and yeah, and that's just it. That's what I was gonna say. Because like in relationships, and I know from my own experience, we were talking about this earlier today, how like it's almost like an extreme where you either need to be happy, like super happy and like super loving life, or um it's the opposite extreme where it's like, why did I marry this person? We're not meant to be together. Like, this was a big mistake, kind of thing, right? Like, it's like, fantasy versus chaos. But there is a place to live, like, right in the middle where it's like just continuous, like,
Yeah.
continuous connection with pockets of, great, really great things happening, or, some disagreements and different things like that, because that's where we get to choose to grow. But at the same time, we don't have to live in opposite extremes. Like, we can live in this environment that is loving and full of connection and isn't chaos.
Right. No, I like that. And that's I'm a simple guy if you haven't got that by now. Um and I like that. Like just yeah, it doesn't have to be yelling, screaming all the time. Passion's great,
Hmm.
which is awesome, but at the same token, it doesn't have to be like that all the time.
Hmm.
Like just yeah, just be and like you said, just to show your kids that you can um, just have a relationship where it's not so high and low and just, but there still has to be, I don't say that, I don't want to just coast either. Like, don't put it in cruise control, then you're just roommates. But
No, and that's what we're going to talk about
yeah.
today, right? I'm talking about more the psychological things where it's like we grow up from our childhood and we either just know chaos
Hmm.
or we're expecting that fantasy relationship,
Right.
right? But what I'm saying is there's this thing in the middle that exists that is growth and expansion, but at the same time it's not like chaos or living in a fantasy that doesn't exist.
I like it.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, number 1 is having deep discussions. And so the reason that this kind of came up was because you were talking about how lots of times there's nothing to talk about because we just text all day.
Yeah, that was today I brought that up. Well, I always bring that up to people is how long it's been? At least 10 years, eh?
You're going to have to give me a little more than that.
Sorry, 10, 15 years. I was just like texting culture.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Since we first started dating.
When we started dating 16 years ago, there was texting, but it was like the flip phone with T9. So it was very limited texting.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. And then smartphones like 10, 11, 12,
yeah,
something
probably,
like that.
I don't know.
But either way, yeah, like I say it all the time to people, is just you don't have a whole lot to talk about if you do come home to somebody that you've been texting all day.
Yeah.
Especially if you both have, well, I shouldn't even say office jobs because everyone on the fucking site is texting all the time too, and they're not supposed to be.
Yeah,
but
everyone's on a phone now.
I mean, it's just you have everything out in a text message, and it's just constant, right? So when you get home, you've kind of explained the whole day, and that Susie pissed you off at work. This guy's doing this and whatever else. So, it's a tough one though, too, right? Like I don't know about just people's lives to text each other, but some things got to stay. Some face-to-face time to just sit down and have even a 10-minute conversation and then not text it to each other while you're sitting opposite sides of the couch. Like,
yeah. That was actually one of the things. So this was like 8 years ago. So I mean, this is a continuous thing, but 8 years ago when I first started working with my coach, when like we were kind of at our lowest point, that was a recommendation he had given me, like stop texting during the day, like have a reason to need to communicate, have something to talk about, and don't just share everything all day throughout the day, right?
And it's hard to, or not hard, but it's easy to misconstrue things in text as well, which I don't really like.
Yeah, tone is hard, right?
Yeah, you read everything in your voice, and if you're having like a negative day or whatever, you can read whatever in a negative way, and then get home and have that, and you're like kind of argumentative or just being off with that person, and they're like, "What the fuck did I do?"
Yeah,
like you'd have no idea.
Totally. And even on a human level, speaking about connection and empathy and like looking someone in the eyes or like touching their hand, this can go in both ways. Like, so let's say you had a bad day and Susie did piss you off at work. In a text, I might just be like, oh yeah, that's really shitty. What do you want for dinner? Right. So it's almost dismissive and just like, but if you're here, like we can dive into it a little more. We can talk about like, well, why did she piss you off? Like, why do you think that triggered you? And we can go into it more. I can give you a hug. We can have a human connection and you can process that and move forward. Right. And not just like stifle that down, suppress that emotion even more, even though, you might be like, whatever, Susie's a bitch and she annoys me every single day. I'm not holding on to it. I still believe that we are holding on to these things, right? There's a reason she triggers you, and there is no Susie. We're just using Susie as an example.
I was going to say that poor bitch just getting hate on.
Right? But, and then it works the other way too. So let's say you had like a big win and you might text me and share it with me. And like, I can give you all the exclamation marks and all the emojis, but like, that's the culture we live in these days where it's just like, not face to face, but imagine then celebrating that actually in person, like waiting till you came home and then we talked about it and we hugged and we kissed and like, right, got really excited about it together. Like we're in the energy together. I think it's totally different.
Oh, 100%. I agree. And it's weird though, or not weird. I'm such can be a hypocrite in that sense too, where I'll fucking text you like all day about things. And then we go through kind of ebbs and flows too. Sometimes we won't text, and which is great because then we have some good conversations, but we should make that a point, really. We're going to start a conscious point.
But I have something to ask you, and I know that this is what I do. Do you think you text me more during the day when it's something that like maybe you're trying to avoid or you're feeling off in your day, so you're just like, I'm gonna text her more? Like, not to put it on me, but you're just trying to fill a void by texting me more in that day?
Uh, Probably if I got really into it, because then at least I can have not control, but I know something probably good will come, or like at least a decent conversation with you, even just
Right.
text message if I'm having like a really shitty day.
Right. Okay.
Which kind of works as a crutch, I suppose, instead of just dealing with my shit of that day. But
Yeah.
um, I know that we'll get some good convos going instead of just me dealing with more shit during the day. But
Yeah. Which could just be a form of like connecting, right?
it is.
Um, But I know for myself too, like, yeah, if I'm just having like an off day or like I'm always looking for a distraction outside of myself. And so you fit very nicely into that. And I'm like, I will text him because he's always there for me. And now I'm going to avoid that
Yeah,
thing that I need
that's
to
I
be
guess that's a
doing,
roundabout way of what I
or
just
those
said. Yeah,
feelings I should be sinking into and feeling, like that
yeah.
kind of thing. And I'm not saying that like every time I text you, I'm avoiding a feeling or something, but
No, I hear
those
you.
are just the days where I notice that I'm texting you a lot, right?
Right.
Also on that note, like having deep discussions, because so much like we change in relationship, right? Like we're not the
We're
same
changing
person we
in
were
life.
last
Yeah,
week. And even through this corona stuff, like everything that's going on in the world, like there's some deep stuff coming to the surface, right? Like people are talking about human trafficking and pedophiles and all
yeah.
of
It's
the
fucking
things.
all coming out.
There's
Yeah,
always opportunities in our lives to get our partner's perspective
hmm
or their feelings on something and to really go deeper into things, right? That we may not have thought of a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, a couple years ago, right?
yeah,
So, and then also like our goals and our dreams and the things we're aspiring to might change as well. So, having this like those deeper conversations, like maybe when you're in the vehicle traveling, like putting the phone down and actually like connecting and turning down the radio and actually asking questions. And I think we actually did an episode
yeah.
about
The question one, eh? That was
mhm,
good. I I am a big believer in that because you get so lost now
mhm,
with everything, right? With all the social media, with like myself included, with I get really into like YouTube videos all the time, and then just kind of zone out into those, and I can convince myself that I'm learning things. I'm well, yeah, watching tutorials and just listening to motivational things, which is good stuff. But the same token, just using that to avoid and not real, well, yeah, using it to avoid real life, and then
mhm,
missing out on opportunities to have some really good discussions.
mhm,
And I'm very fortunate because I have you as a partner to have those discussions where you have someone to reciprocate that with and have their own thoughts, and we can disagree on a lot of things, but like still get each other's point across
mhm,
and listen to each other and not try to change each other's minds, but at least we can just have creative discussions
mhm,
and learn something new from each other. Still, I mean, it's
mhm,
and I hope for that for the rest of our life, right?
mhm,
Like just constantly having something new to bring to the table and
mhm,
just and listening and really listening to that person's
mhm,
opinion and not just shooting it down. And especially from the men's point of view, like fucking listen to your lady and just listen to it. You don't have to solve the problems. You don't have to try to reframe it so that it sounds better to you. Like you just listen to the way that she's saying it, or that you're saying it, and yeah, accept that and carry on, right?
mhm.
Um,
Yeah, most problems actually can be, I wouldn't say fixed, but like moved through by just simply
just
listening.
shut the fuck up, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
just
like
needs to
anything,
just need to feel seen,
work,
heard.
personal life, relationships, everything, right? Like if you really did just listen to, because most people generally, unless you're dealing with a psychopath, like they they're they're meaning to do the right thing in their own mind, right? Or like they're trying to do the best they can.
Mhm,
So I mean, even listening to other people's opinions is like generally they're trying to do the best they can, and there be some nuggets of gold in those
mhm.
opinions. You just got to shut up and listen and not just be blind or have the blinders on for your own,
Yeah, for sure.
which I'm 100% guilty of all the time. And most men, like if you're a leader at work or you're a leader anywhere, you generally, I know myself anyway, like I'll dismiss a lot of people's ideas because like, no, this
Yeah,
is
it's
my
your
fucking
ego.
ship and we got to steer this thing in the right direction. But as I'm getting older and just trying to get smarter, you have to listen. Everyone has great ideas. Doesn't
Mhm,
matter. You're young, old. Um, age has fuck all to do with anything. Like,
Mhm.
there's a lot of old people are like, "Oh, listen to your elders," but I know a lot of fucking dumb old people too. So,
It's rude.
well, whatever, they are what they are.
And there
But
are a lot of smart kids.
yes, there are smart young
Mhm.
people that we have to start listening to,
Mhm.
and it starts with listening to your partner.
Mhm. Listening
And
to each other.
absolutely,
Yeah, totally. And it goes both ways, ladies. Okay, so number 2, create bucket lists. So let's just touch on this one really quickly. But I had made like a note about bucket lists together, but also apart, because I think it's so important that you have like fun and adventure together, but then it's also really important to be your own person and have your own adventurous side as well, because that increases the attraction,
hmm,
right? Like when you do stuff outside of our relationship, I'm like, oh, that's interesting, like tell me about it, share with me. And it makes me like, it's almost like when we're dating again, where I'm just like, oh, like tell me about you, like let me learn something about you. But it's more of like, yeah, what did you do, like how was that adventure? And then I think it just builds that attraction.
absolutely does. And I don't know about for myself. I say it all the time to you, right? Like watching you in your zone of creative, like in creative genius zone, or like just watching you get ideas, writing them down, working on things. um I love it. Like, it's
Hmm.
sexy as hell. And I could only imagine from a woman's point of view watching your man actually fucking do something or anything, right? Like,
Yeah.
just having that guy that you're like, okay, this is my guy, he's doing shit.
Yeah. And so I think, like, okay, creating a bucket list, you might think that that's like big, crazy things, but
Hmm.
everyday things, like even just doing a workout
Yep.
or, whatever, going in your office and doing some work, doing your hobby, like whatever it is, it's that follow through too, right? Like actually doing it.
I think that's the biggest one, especially right now in today's world. I think would be the follow through, because I
Hmm.
always catch myself like I got some big dreams, I write them down, I do all these things, and just one,
Hmm.
you forget to follow through,
Yeah.
or you don't follow through, and then that's it. Doesn't matter what you, no matter how big you dream or whatever you do, it's still, if you don't follow through, then
Yeah,
what is it, right?
exactly. Totally. Okay. Number 3 is having goals together. So this kind of plays off number 2 because it's like you have your things like bucket list together and apart, but then also having just goals together. So this could be like big things or little things, like saving for a house and having like long-term goals,
Hmm.
or saving for retirement, but also like short-term things, so like saving for a vacation or signing up to run a marathon together, or those fun runs, right?
Yeah,
They're not
those,
happening this year
no,
probably,
but
but
those are great. Those are really good, like those Spartan races or those foam races. It gets generally people that aren't doing a ton in fitness, and it
mhm.
gets you at least started, or some sort of a goal to work for, right?
Yeah. But also what it really does too is like feels like you're a team,
Hmm.
right? Like you build that relationship, you strengthen your relationship because you're like in it together, and then you're there to like you kind of parallels like your emotional relationship with the physical relationship of running that race, like pulling you up, and that's like lifting your partner up, right? Cheering them on, so being their biggest cheerleader,
Yeah,
like
massive.
just I think they're so parallel, but I think just the biggest thing in that is being a team.
Hmm. No, I like that.
Okay. Number 4, we kind of laughed when we talked about this one because it was massage night. And I said, depending on what season of your life you're in, that might just mean I'm going to sleep,
Yeah, generally,
which
right?
is fine because
Yeah,
that's still building connection.
yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, parents with toddlers or kids or baby, like,
Hmm.
I just, yeah, everyone, it's funny because you're like, oh, fantasize about like a weekend away with you, and meanwhile it'd be like fucking fancy hotel, just
I
sleeping.
just want to go to sleep.
And I'm sleeping.
Yeah. And I mean, I would take maybe massage night and turn that into just massage minute. Like
Anything, right?
as you're sitting on the couch together, like, yeah, massaging quick shoulders, massaging feet if it's just like super, super, super quick, right?
Hmm.
Or if she's sitting at the table, just massaging her shoulders, or vice versa, right? Just there's that touch aspect again, but also like, God, who doesn't love a good massage?
No, and it's depending how where you're at in your relationship too. It's like that element of surprise. You're like, whoa,
Yeah.
need that, right?
Yeah.
Which is 100% fair.
Yeah, because lots of times you don't know how much you need something until you get it,
Yeah.
right? You're like, oh yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so then I feel like these all just play into each other so well, because then the next one is snuggle.
Ooh.
And actually, this is funny because I didn't even think about this, but just last night, I'm always like, I need to go to bed early or as soon as I'm ready for bed because Lennox is not an awesome sleeper and he'll wake up in the night or he'll wake up really early in the morning. And so I just know I need to get to sleep if I want to get sleep. But last night, I actually was just like wanted to fall asleep in your lap or like in your arms on the couch. And you were watching a show, and I was just like, I should go to bed, but I just laid there and we just snuggled and it felt so good. And I just like, even though I should have probably gone to bed and I would have maybe got better, longer sleep,
Yeah.
that filled me in a different way, right? Just falling asleep in your arms
Yeah. No, that's fair. Absolutely.
and built a connection that, like, obviously we're not even really talking about till tonight, but I think physically that
No, it's just there,
strengthened
right?
that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think there's many opportunities for snuggles throughout the day. The next one is sending romantic texts. So this kind of goes against like what we just said in point number 1 about having deep conversations, but this is different. This isn't just like, hey, how's it going? What are you doing? Oh, this just happened. This is like a very intentional romantic text that could be like lovey or sexy or even about admiration, right? Like sharing something that you love about your partner or something you're grateful for. And it just kind of comes totally out of nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's great to be depending what even your love language, right? If you got praise or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
like that'd be a big one. And then yeah, absolutely, just being like playful, teasing,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that looks like, right? Romantic, sexy. Um, yeah, man, those are great too to see those, especially you don't know where your partner is in that day or how they're feeling or something like that, but you look down and you see a great text, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
that puts a little pep in your step, and
Yeah.
just like fucking, I can get through this day. I'll figure it out.
Well, and what's really funny is when you text me, generally, I don't even need to look at my phone because I know exactly what your answer is. Like whether it's "K sounds good" or a thumbs up or yeah, certain things that are just like generic, right? And just like I don't even need to look. And I play this game with myself where I'm like in my head ahead of time, I'm like, this is what it says. And then I look, I'm like, yeah, that's what it says. Or oh, I might have been off on one word.
I
But
start
yeah.
copying and pasting some long paragraphs. Boom. You're like this.
Throw me off.
Yeah.
But sometimes I look at my phone, I'm like, oh, what is this? And then I like instantly feel just like this little excitement.
Ooh, what do you got here?
I'm like, this isn't like one of the 3 generic texts. So then I like actually go into it and it is a bit more, feely. And I think expressing our feelings and love and sexiness and admiration in person is amazing. But we live in a world of texting. So that's just like another way to surprise each other, right? Like just totally left field. And I just know from experience, I like those.
It is, yeah. And again, you gotta fucking do that stuff, man. Like everybody takes it for granted or doesn't do that, but it's a partnership, it's a relationship. This is your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the hell it is. It's like if you can't do that with that person, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
yeah, and just playful too, right? Like if not also sending the text with the expectation that like, oh, this is going to get me laid tonight.
yeah, no,
It's not at all what
you
it's
don't know
about. Like
in your day either where that's happening, right?
the course of where the evening's going to go and getting the kids to bed. So there's no expectation around it, but it's essentially like filling the love bank, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I guess we touched on that with your love language and then filling that tank up and not letting that get too low.
Yeah.
Which is tough and gets low and getting that fucking or that roommate relationship, and then it just slippery slope, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Next one is kiss like you mean it. So like I think we all get into this little routine of the peck. Yeah.
Yeah, I read that somewhere recently. Did you write something about it or something? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I read something about like just pecking, kissing, and I guess that goes in line with like once you get in that roommate phase, and you're just like, yeah.
Yeah, because like think about when you just first started dating, right? You didn't just see each other and be like, hi. It was like,
yeah, you're fucking getting in there. Yeah.
Getting in there. Right? So just think about this if you've been with your partner for, an extended amount of time, like, and they walk in the door and you're used to being like a quick peck on the lips, or maybe there's not even anything there at all, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But how would you throw them off if you just like passionately kissed them when they came in the house?
It turns into that real life relationship. Shave your fucking face. You're gonna kiss me like that.
That pokes. Ow. Now I have a rash.
Yeah. Are you happy now? But yeah, no, seriously though. Yeah, fucking there's got to be that passion, right? And
Yeah.
it sounds so silly to say it all the time, but I mean, it's just life's too short, and
Mhm.
that's the person that you signed up for to fucking live this life with,
Mhm.
and be that person for them. Be it for yourself too. Like, I mean, even just it makes myself I feel better when I'm like I'm kissing you like that. Like,
Mhm.
feel like a fucking man again, right? Like,
Mhm.
do that shit, and um, it goes. I'm generally you'll be a good response out of it.
Yeah.
Sans the pokey face and whatever else.
Yeah.
If you got that Indian beard like me and the wire brush, hurts a little bit,
That's
but
exactly what it feels like, a rubber brush or wire brush, a
yeah,
rubber brush. Jesus. I need to go to bed.
I'm chalking it up to the sun, man. So fun.
Um, and I always hear in the back of my head, because women always say to me, yeah, but I do these things and he's just like cold or like, stiff, like doesn't reciprocate it.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah,
As soon as I
he's
said
stiff.
it,
Yeah.
as soon as I said, I was like, not that
You're
kind
kissing him right. You're doing it right.
not that kind of stiff, I said.
Oh, okay.
Like, now there's no words that are coming to my mind that will work for this.
It's just so hard to get there. Anyway, okay.
No, okay, so he's just not reciprocating
Yeah,
it.
he's very flaccid in his response.
His energy, okay, enough. His energy is
I could
like,
just go for days. Like,
okay, that is okay. I mean, everything we talk about is like for people in relationships that are not physically, mentally, emotionally abusive, right? Like, this is to reignite that passion. And for some people, like, it's been going on for so long that they're just like, huh? And like, they're also dealing with their own shit, right? So this is what I work with my clients on all the time. Like, you are the change maker. You're the one who's kind of like leading the way. So the first time you do things, your partner might be like, what the fuck is she doing? Right?
well, who knows, man? You never know the headspace people are in. Like, why the
Mhm.
fuck you kissed me like that? Were you kissing some other guy like that? Where'd you
Right?
learn that trick?
Or what's going on in your life that you're so
Yeah,
passionate
you just
about
never
now?
know, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, I was trying to do something nice, but
Yeah.
there you go.
So I think always coming at it from a place of like, again, zero expectation, but also just like coming from a place of your heart, like where you want to, and you would do it no matter what their reaction was, right? Like, expectation is everything, and intention is also everything, right? Like,
Yep.
I'm just maybe if you haven't really been intimate for a long time, don't just like mull him over when he walks in the door and like attack him with hugs and kisses and all of that. That might throw him off, but
Yep.
like baby steps, right?
Yep.
So basically, just what I'm trying to get across here is no expectation, do it with intention. Like, what is your intention? It is to spark more intimacy and connection in your relationship. It doesn't have to be like a big, huge thing. Like, we're actually giving you ideas to use through the micro moments of your day. And that's the purpose of it, right? Like, don't have to go over the top, but just know too that like, if your partner is kind of like, what the fuck, that has no reflection on your worth
No.
or who you are, right?
No.
But just keep doing you, keep being playful, keep being silly, keep trying new things, because your partner's going to come around eventually. Like, they're going to be like, oh, okay, they're going to see like the benefits of it, right?
Yeah, and depending their background or whatever, maybe they came out of a really messed up relationship, but you start to feel safe. You know that that's a safe place, and then fuck, man, you reciprocate that, and off you go.
Yeah. Okay, I need to go back because there was something I wanted to say when we were talking about that whole, like, you either live in this fantasy extreme or you live in the chaos extreme, but there is this really nice place in the middle that just feels, and I didn't say safe, because I wanted to say that, like, sometimes in relationship I might feel like, and this was in the past, like, okay, if things aren't going right, and I talked about this earlier, then like I'm in that chaos. Like, I got to create some situation that will like cause us to have an argument or
I see. Yeah.
to fight or flight, essentially. But safe, that was the word. You just said the word, and I was like, that's the word. I think that creating a safe, like encapsulating your relationship in this like safety, that's what it's all about. Because in this safety net, you have the ability to express how you feel, what you want to work on, what's not working with your partner without having to live in that chaos, right? So Anyway, sorry, just wanted to paint that picture of like it's not all roses and butterflies,
No.
but it's also not chaos.
No, and it doesn't, yeah, it definitely doesn't have to be or shouldn't
No,
be, right?
but it's that feeling of safety.
Mhm.
I just had to come back to that because as soon as you said safe, I was like, that's the word.
That's almost my definition of a relationship, right? Just to be safe and to not and to know that no matter what you put out there, like having your partner not gonna throw that in your face
Yeah.
or especially for men, right? When you start opening up to your partner and you're being extremely vulnerable and you're hoping that that person doesn't just turn around and use that against you in some
Yeah.
way. And some people will, and they're just
Yeah.
fucking assholes or malicious people, right?
Yeah.
And that's not the person you want to be in a
Well,
relationship
and
with.
sometimes they will too because out of their own wounds and their own trauma, right? Like
Hmm.
they don't mean to. Not saying that that's okay, but also just,
I
not
guess there's two
everyone who
sides
does
to
that. If your
everything. Yeah.
partner does that, they're not necessarily evil and malicious, right?
No, you're still an asshole.
You might be an asshole, but work on your own shit,
Yeah.
asshole, and then grow out of it, and then you can grow together.
There you go. Boom.
Okay, sorry. That was like a total sidetrack. Okay, so we have just two more, but I'm going to put them together because they totally go together. So they're flirt and also greet each other with excitement. I mean, I think we also kind of covered the greet each other with excitement with that whole like kissing like you mean it and stuff. Because really like how you start your day or how you start your evening or how you start the point that you guys are coming together at,
Yep.
I think really means everything, right? Like if you come together all cranky and angry talking about how shitty your day was or how shitty the day is going to be or how shitty your sleep was or blah, 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 that's probably going to set the tone for this connection and
Oh, it's just like
intimacy,
it's a
right?
fucking Groundhog Day. You
Mhm.
can just relive that all the time, right?
Yeah. Versus if you like are intentional about what you're coming in, how you're coming in
Hmm.
and greeting this person or just being with this person or waking up beside this person, then I think that sets the foundation for the rest of
Yeah,
your time together.
I've been extremely mindful the last little bit here, at least when coming home. Like, um, it was famous when we were living in Vancouver, like trying to like when I was selling cars and trying. I don't know, I could lose that word. Most days, if I didn't sell anything, like you could probably sense it fucking down the hallway. Like I'd walk in and just be like, "Oh, hey there," fucking Eeyore walking in. Um, didn't sell it again. But if I did, I'd always walk in with like a 4-pack of Guinness. Like we sold a car. Yeah, just got enough money to buy this Guinness. But lately I'd been trying to make it a point, like obviously I like got a little bit of a commute, but then even just walking in the door, like before I walk in and walking down the hallway, like I force myself to smile and like try to laugh at anything I can just so I can walk in and have a decent energy or good energy coming into um and seeing my son and seeing you and just
Mm-hmm.
and it's like you fake it till you make it, but even after a few weeks of that, like now it's like it's genuine, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean it always is, but just so you don't catch yourself setting that as a man anyway, I'm fucking good at it. Like I can kill a vibe in a hurry. Most man or woman can, but I mean it's just you gotta be happy, man. You
Mm-hmm.
have to. Even if you're faking it, at least it'll rub off in a hurry. And like if you have toddlers, you can't help but laugh. Like,
Yeah.
at first 5 seconds when I walk in, Lennox is saying something fucking ridiculous that you have to laugh at. Like, you can't
Yeah.
not. It's just funny.
Yeah.
So then it sets that tone for the evening and for supper, and generally want to have a happy home in that
Mm-hmm.
time because I only get a few hours with Lennox in the evening, right? So you got to
Mm-hmm.
make the most of them, and it's not always been great, and I've been an asshole, and I catch myself in that, and I feel a lot of resentment to myself on that. Some of the things I do and say to Lennox, and I think every day is just you learn and
Yeah.
just don't do that again. But um, and you as well. Like if I come home and just being an asshole because of the day, and it had nothing to do with either one of you guys, and you just have to, you guys are the punching bag for that. It sucks. Um, been really trying to be mindful of that and really making an effort to not put any of that stuff on you guys. Um, and it's a fine line in a relationship where like obviously I lean on you for support and things like that, but you're not there to, it's not your responsibility to support me that whole like my whole career or whatever
Yeah.
like that. You know what I mean? Like, um, yeah, you got to live your life too, and you deserve to be happy, not just fucking trying to make this other person happy.
Yeah, and I think when you were saying like you got to be happy, right? I think for sure there's a time and a space for feeling those emotions of a shitty day or processing that, and if you can't do it on your way home from work and it's still with you,
Hmm.
that's okay. But when you come in and you set that tone for how you're going to be with your family, it creates again that safe place with your partner where, after the kids are to bed or when you do have a moment, like you could actually talk about it
No, then go sit
together,
on the
right?
deck or go sit on
Yeah,
the
and just
balcony and
like
talk. And
talk about your day,
yeah.
going back to point number one, like having that conversation and coming back around to it and being able to process it and talk it out with someone.
Hmm.
But it's not like coming in and dumping it on someone, right? So
No, totally.
it
Yeah.
doesn't mean you have to be happy and you can't feel that, or even, it's just a different way of coming at it with your partner. It's not dumping it on your partner. It's almost sharing that feeling, and
Yeah.
that can bring you closer together in with that regard as well, right? Because you're not just like being super disrespectful and grumpy and rude.
No, totally. And to set that with your kids too, right? Like they don't. It's kind of a weird one. I don't remember really feeling it, or if I did. But just like if you're having a good time at home, right after school till 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or whatever, right? Till your dad comes home and you just, um, it's gonna get weird. Not
Mhm.
weird, but you just feel like a real heavy energy,
Yeah, it totally is energy.
and it just sucks, right? Like you're really happy, then you're almost kind of sad, or you're just like let down when you do see your dad or your mom when they
Yeah.
come home, and which is you shouldn't be. It should be the other way around. But
Yeah, well, as a child, you just learn to understand their energy and to play off of that to not rock the boat, right?
hmm,
Keep everything nice
yeah,
and smooth, which is really shitty. And I'm
no, and that's not a kid's fucking responsibility. That's you as an
mhm,
adult should really take care of your own shit and
mhm,
deal with that. And again, it's not perfect and it fluctuates and it's not like that every day, but if you can do baby steps and just,
mhm.
5 days out of 7 is better than
Yeah,
not, right? But
yeah. Yeah,
um
and I think it's important for our kids to see us in emotions. I mean, when you're having a bad day, you're having a bad day, but not this every day, right? Like
yeah,
coming home
no.
from work and your
No.
kid's scared, not scared, but just like
Well,
isn't
then they're just
themselves
walking on
anymore,
like you're
or
walking on eggshells in your
yeah.
own house, and it's like that's not right.
Yeah, and it goes the same for partners too,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah, no, exactly.
for sure when you were mopey, Mike, like it was almost like, and I was like it too. I was like, oh, it's better when you're not here,
Totally.
right?
I
Like
get it.
we're
I really
happier
do.
when you're not here,
Yeah.
which is rude, but at the same time,
Well, no, I understand.
it's just an
That's fair.
energy. It's
Absolutely
just
it
an
is.
energy. So, anyways, okay, yeah. So, and then the last one, like I said, was flirt, but that one just plays into everything we just talked about because just like being playful and being silly. And it was funny because I was reading this little kind of definition on this topic, and it was like, if nothing else, if it doesn't take you to the bedroom, at least you're both laughing your ass off about it, because maybe it's been forever since you've been practicing your flirt skills with your partner, right? Or allowing yourself to like really go there,
It's true.
and so your partner might just start laughing and be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Why you hurt your hip? Why are you walking funny? I'm trying to
Exactly.
show you my ass. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Right, but at least it's a good laugh, which then is just that, I don't know, my words are done.
No, that's good. And I think, yeah, let's leave it at that.
Yeah, because it's really hot in here and
Mhm.
I could take off my clothes.
Yeah, at that we'll end it. Thanks for listening.
Because it's hot. It's really
Oh,
hot in
oh
here.
shit.
I
Okay.
need to crack a window.
Okay. But no, that's awesome. Where can people find you?
Oh, you can follow me on LaRocque Life. Follow us on LaRocque Life. I meant to say Laura LaRocque there. So Laura LaRocque on Instagram, Facebook, or LaRocque Life, Instagram, Facebook, and my website is also lauralarocque.com.
That's kind of the hub, for everything.
LauraLaRocque.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because you can watch our podcast from all the platforms there, and then yeah, everything's there.
Okay. Perfect. Well, let's end it at that. Thank you. I
Yeah,
love you.
I love you too.
Happy flirting out there, you guys. Good
Yeah.
luck. If you got anything, we'll throw down some comments or
Yeah.
send us some emails, message, anything like that, right? Just let us know what's going on and how you're feeling, and if any of this is helping, or
Yeah.
if anyone's listening, I don't know.
Are you out there?
Are you
No.
out there?
No, but one thing I did want to say is that if you are, gaining anything, we do get private messages from people. So let us know, like, what are your biggest takeaways? Because then we get to know, like, what you're looking for and what's helpful for you, and we can create more around that. And also share them. Like, if you get something out of it, share it, because then we can just reach more people and help more people have better relationships, have more sex,
Just have
make more
fun.
babies.
Yeah. Not be mopey.
Don't be mopey.
Yeah. I've lived it. I know what it's like and it sucks. So I want nobody to live that. So if there's any bit
Yeah.
that we can help somebody with that, then fuck, it's all worth it.
Yeah. So share, and also just let us know if you want to leave comments, if you want to leave us a review, or if you want to privately message us. Then we can totally know what kind of things you're digging and where you're learning from, and then we can create more around that.
Sounds good. Okay.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you too. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.